Welcome back to Beginning Bourbon. This is Brian. I hope everyone has had a great week. Well, today we are going to go over the 3 ways in which bourbons are evaluated. If you were to go on YouTube and see someone evaluate or judge a particular bottle of bourbon, they'll almost always use 3 criteria to decide whether or not it's a quality bottle or not. And those 3 criteria are as follows. Number 1, the nose. Number 2, the palate or the taste. And number 3, the finish. Well, if we're to go over those, number 1 being the nose, that's pretty self-explanatory. What? Smells. Do we get? That's it. And we want those traditional bourbon smells, which are oak, vanilla, honey, brown sugar, molasses, and we want those smelling notes to be strong. We want them to be intense. We want them to be complex. What we don't want are simple smells, weak smells. Especially very young, unmature bourbon can have almost a metallic-y smell to it. That's not something desirable. We want something that's going to be just nice and strong with the traditional smells. The second thing is the palate or the taste. And that's simply just taking the bourbon, of course, and giving it a little taste. And what are we looking for? We're looking at if we smelled beautiful molasses, brown sugar, vanilla, we hope that we get those same flavors when we taste it. We want that experience. There's a saying that you want the palate to match the nose. So whatever flavors you got on the nose, you want to experience with actually tasting it. And the same criteria, you hope that those flavors are rich, that they are strong, that they're complex, that they're savory. You hope that they're not weak, thin, and again, metallic-y. That again, it almost always speaks to a young, immature bourbon. The last thing is the finish. So we have the nose, we have the palate or the taste. The last is the finish. All the finish is that after I've taken a sip of bourbon, do I experience any flavors after I've taken that sip? Is there anything that lingers, that stays around? Sometimes it's recommended that after you take a sip, to take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And with that inhale and exhale, you might experience some additional flavors. And that is actually wanted. That's desired. That's considered a hallmark of quality bourbon. So you want it's called a long finish. You want to be able to experience some of those flavors longer than after just sipping it. What you don't want is to simply sip the bourbon and then the flavor just goes off a cliff. It's done and over. So that's it. Those are the 3 ways in which bourbon is almost always judged or evaluated. The nose, simply smelling. The palate or the taste, tasting it. Third, the finish. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Again, please subscribe and hit that bell notification. That's always helpful. And everyone have a good night.